6 creators, 6 final moments. Each began with a simple TikTok and ended in tragedy. From a TikToker who killed himself on live stream to another who fell 50 feet below a building, these are the chilling true stories of influencers whose last videos became their goodbyes. Let's begin at the tip. It was an ordinary evening in Chita, Russia. 9-year-old Felicia Kononchuk was home alone with her brothers when a loud, relentless pounding echoed from their front door. At first, she tried to ignore it, but the noise grew angrier, harder, and closer. To get people's advice on what to do, she grabbed her phone, opened TikTok, and hit record.
Ребята, всем привет, у меня сейчас жесть история. У нас там сосед, он, стучится на...
In the short clip, she explained that her drunk neighbor has been knocking on the door and trying to break it down. She added that she was home alone with her brothers and the maintenance workers as their dad had gone to the grocery store. "He's been at it for over an hour now, and I'm scared," she said. The man behind the door was Vasily Dunets, a 30-year-old neighbor who had been drinking heavily. Earlier, he'd argued with Felicia's father about construction noise in the apartment. Perhaps he thought it was a good time to continue the argument. But since no one answered him, he eventually stopped knocking. Relieved, Felicia thought the danger had passed. But the worst was yet to come. She dropped her phone and was trying to calm her brothers when she received a text from her friend asking if she wanted to play at the park. A few minutes later, she heard someone knock again. This time, it was gentle. Therefore, she assumed her friend had arrived. Felicia ran to open the door, only to meet the same drunk neighbor standing there, pointing a gun at her face. In response, she tried to slam the door shut, but before she could, he pulled the trigger. Meanwhile, her father had returned and was downstairs when he heard the gunshot. He sprinted upstairs, hoping his children were safe. But it was too late. The bullet had tore through the door and hit Felicia in the chest and head. By the time he got to the door, she was on the floor, covered in a pool of her own blood. Felicia looked up at him with fading eyes and whispered, "Dad, I've been killed?" Consequently, the neighbor, Vasily Dunets, made no attempts to escape. He waited at the entrance till the authorities arrived and arrested him. On the 23rd of July 2022, Vasily Dunets was found guilty and sentenced to 17 years in maximum prison. Harrison Gilks was a normal 15-year-old boy from Fredericton, New Brunswick, living like any boy of his age when his life took an unexpected turn. What started as persistent pain led to a devastating diagnosis of rhabdomyosarcoma, a rare and aggressive form of soft tissue cancer. At first, there was hope. He completed his first round of chemotherapy in December 2020, hoping that it was enough to buy him time. However, by 2022, the cancer returned. Doctors told Harrison and his family the cancer had spread and was no longer curable. Most people would have withdrawn, but Harrison chose a different path. He decided to live louder than ever. He started a TikTok account where he created a bucket list series and recorded every moment, ticking off the things on his list. With his trademark smile, Harrison began checking off his dreams one by one. He got a helicopter tour of New York City, took trips to Los Angeles to see the Rams play, went to Montreal for a hockey game, and even met American country singer Luke Combs. Amazed by his optimistic outlook on life, his followers grew to over 300,000 by the end of that year. Soon, strangers became supporters, cheering him on as he faced every challenge with courage and humor. However, they'd soon be hit with the darkest reality. By early 2023, Harrison's health began to worsen. Still, even from the hospital bed, he continued to share updates, always thankful for the life he had lived. In his final TikTok, he looked into the camera and said softly, "Pray for me and my family." It's been a great ride with you guys on the bucket list. Thank you all for following along. Don't take life for granted.
Pray for me and my family. It's been a great ride with you guys on the bucket list. I might make some more videos, just me being dumb or something. I really don't know.
The next time a video was uploaded to his account, it announced his death on March 20th, 2023. Surrounded by his family, Harrison passed away peacefully at just 18 years old. After his death, a legacy fund was established in his name, and his local hockey team officially retired his jersey in his honor. Kubra Dogan was a 23-year-old TikToker from Istanbul, Turkey, who loved filming short videos. In 2021, she decided to visit her cousin, but she wouldn't return home. On August 23, 2021, Kubra was with her 16-year-old cousin, Helen, who lived in Istanbul's Esenyurt district. That evening, the sky glowed with soft orange light as the sun began to set. It looked like a perfect backdrop for a TikTok video. Together, Kubra and her cousin went up to the roof of the 5-story building, eager to record a few clips and take pictures before night fell. While Helen took the pictures, Kubra posed. Initially, she sat on the edge of the roof, posing for the camera with her legs stretched out over a grey metal panel attached to the side of the building. Then, she decided to stand. That's when things took a dark turn. As soon as she climbed the metal panel, it gave way under her weight. In a split second, the panel collapsed, and she fell 50 meters into the shaft of an abandoned building. Helen stood frozen for a moment, unsure of what had just happened. She tried to get help, but it was too late. She had recorded her cousin's death step by step on her phone. By the time emergency responders arrived, there were no vital signs. Kubra Dogan was pronounced dead at the scene. Vincent Plick, popularly known as Inquisitor 3, was a 24-year-old Italian content creator who gained popularity as a cosplayer of the iconic Call of Duty character Simon Ghost Riley. With his perfect detailed masks, tactical gear, and confident energy, Vincent quickly built a loyal fan base on TikTok. Over time, his followers grew into the hundreds of thousands. It became difficult for him to handle it, so he decided to get help. Consequently, Vincent brought on an editor, AJ, to help him manage his growing workload and edit his videos. AJ presented herself as an adult, and their conversation focused on creative work and upcoming projects. Soon, AJ began shifting their conversations from work to inappropriate topics. She would say things and lure him into responding in ways that could be used against him. All that while, Vincent assumed he had her consent since she was an adult. But that wasn't the case. Unknown to Vincent, AJ was a minor who was dating another TikToker named Tito. Along with a third creator known as Keegan's Mask, they plotted to ruin his social reputation by using AJ to frame him. They collected screenshots and message snippets, many of which were taken out of context. They posted them online, suggesting that Vincent had behaved in a predatory way towards a vulnerable person. Within hours, their screenshots went viral. The comments were filled with accusations, anger, and calls for him to be exposed. The news came as a shock to Vincent. Moreover, he had repeatedly stated online that he avoided vulnerable persons. However, the internet had begun to drag him down. Everything he had, built his name, his fan base, his creative identity, was crushed right before his eyes. Still, the real nightmare was just beginning. On October 11th, 2023, Vincent started a TikTok livestream from his room. As usual, he was wearing his cosplay outfit and chit-chatting with his viewers. Suddenly, his mood changed. He became visibly distressed and began referring to the false accusations about him online. He continued to talk about how he felt betrayed and couldn't take it anymore. While some viewers told him to calm down, others egged him on. For a few seconds, he left the frame and the live went quiet. Moments later, viewers heard a sudden movement and noise. Then, without warning, the screen glitched and the broadcast ended abruptly. By the time help arrived, it was too late. Vincent Plicky had taken his own life on camera. Following the incident, TikTok permanently banned the account. However, his father has since been petitioning TikTok in the Bologna court to obtain access to the original livestream and chat logs to prove that he was harassed. Chinese food and travel blogger known online as Fatty Goes to Africa built a massive following by documenting street food and local cultures across the continent. But when he landed in Nepal, he would never leave alive. Gan and several other Chinese expatriates enjoyed immersing themselves in African life. During his early travels, he fell in love with the people, the food, and the culture so deeply that he decided to stay permanently. Over time, he secured a job in Zambia, where he also met his girlfriend, Margaret. As his audience grew to nearly 5 million followers, Gan formed a small production team to help him film his adventures. Everyone on the team got along, except for one member, Feng. There was just something off about him. However, everything went well until 2022, when Gan needed to go to China. Before Gan briefly returned to China, Feng gave him €10,000 to buy a new iPhone. But when Gan came back, there was no phone, and Feng claimed the money had vanished. Furious, he confronted Gan publicly online, but Gan ignored him. Maybe if he knew what was coming, he wouldn't have. On December 4th, 2022, Gan began a live TikTok stream from the crowded market in Nepal. Hundreds of viewers tuned in as he weaved through the bustling crowd, showing them the small shops he was passing. Then, without warning, someone appeared behind him. At first, it seemed like just another passerby, until everything changed in an instant. The phone fell to the floor and jolted violently, and a scream could be heard. By the time Gan would show up again on camera, his face was covered in blood. Feng had stabbed him in the chest and abdomen. He was pronounced dead later that day. Feng was arrested, and the investigation is still ongoing.
Social media influencer is shot to death while doing a TikTok live stream at her beauty salon just outside Guadalajara in central Mexico.
On May 13th, 2025, beauty influencer Valeria Marquez began a TikTok livestream, but her life would end before the video did. The 23-year-old started the stream holding a stuffed animal and chatting casually with her viewers, just as she always did. A few minutes in, she mentioned that someone had visited her salon earlier to deliver an expensive gift from an anonymous sender. When her co-workers said she wasn't around, the visitor refused to leave the gift, insisting that he had to hand it to Valeria personally. As she continued talking to her audience, a man entered the salon and asked, "Hi, are you Valeria?"
Hey, Valeria? Sí.
She muted her microphone and turned toward him. Then, 2 quick gunshots echoed through the room, one hitting her torso, the other her head. Her body jerked backward, the stuffed animal slipping from her hands as the gunman fled on a motorcycle. Moments later, a salon employee rushed to her side and ended the stream. At first, many viewers thought it was a stage stunt, another influencer trick to grab attention. But by evening, news outlets confirmed the unthinkable. Valeria Marquez was dead. The shooter remains at large. Every case you've heard was real, and there are more buried beneath the surface. If you enjoy this video, please like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss what's next on this channel. Thank you.